Hello everyone, welcome to episode 20, I think it's 26. The deck says 26. Episode 26 of Meet the Devs. We got Troy, we got Chris, myself, and we got Mel, who's going to be joining us in a little bit. Our special guest today. And yeah, I guess you guys are going to continue the talk from 2 weeks ago. But we're going to talk about the Hunter and the Rogue and some other stuff as well. I know there's some secrets in here as well. So yeah, take it away. I know there's a lot of
so last week,
hunters.
so what we're doing for the next couple, I guess really there's one more of this in the series where we're just going deeper dives into the classes and it's really so that folks in the Q&A can ask questions and give comments and feedback on the classes. We also have this new platform feedback.legacy.gg. It's like a little website thing where you can submit feedback and then upvote that. It's something the team and we all look at and read, and it's part of our daily flow. So you could also send feedback on there as well. I assume a lot of the feedback today, if you guys give it, is probably reflected on there too. But anyway, it's really just so that folks can, the players, you guys can just give feedback to us, really. But I did put a little bit of two little slides together that talk about some things that we have planned for the classes that I could think of in the near future that we're going to incorporate. Across the board, we do have plans to improve the diversity of gear through updating the traits. That's a big thing on the traits on the gear. That is something that we're planning to do across the board. So everybody at some point in time, all the classes will get a refresh there. And then general just class balance. Some of the things I listed here are things that are kind of my more priorities for me or maybe the team that we want to do. So anyways, we can just start with that. And then at the end, the reason why we have Mel here today is because we're going to show a little bit of the Paladin in the editor. It's not fully done yet, but we just wanted to share. This is something new we're trying, is just show kind of work in progress and kind of see, get feedback early. I think everyone knows like our full finished products that we do with the classes, and all the art will be completed and it'll look great and polished once it goes live. But yeah, I think it'll be fun to just kind of take an early look, and we'll see how this goes.
Oh, hi Mel. Mel just unmuted.
Hello.
Yeah, maybe Mel, you want to introduce yourself first?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, yeah. My name is Mel, and I am one of two animators on the team, alongside with my good man Barry. We are both actually working on the Paladin. In the past, we kind of like split duties, but we're kind of joining together on the Paladin. He's focusing on the hammer animations. I'm focusing on the sword and shield. A little bit about me. I'm trying to be quick about this. A little bit about me. I've been an animator for 13 or so years. Started out in the games that nobody's ever heard of, and then I made it to a studio called High Res, where I worked on the game Smite for about 7 years and led the team there towards the end, and now I'm here. That's me in a nutshell.
Mel's also really good at trivia, because we had this thing called NotoCon where a lot of the team flew out to California, and we had like a little offsite thing, and yeah, Mel's freakishly good at trivia night. Yeah, you did win that night, right? It was at the bar. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay, let's just go through and go through the classes, and then we could show some of the Paladin, and then we can go into Q&A. And so you could ask questions about the Paladin or the Hunter or the Rogue, I think, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Hunter.
All right, Hunter. So again, these are things that I think are priority that I've noticed. That's not going to encapsulate all feedback that the Hunter community or the bugs and issues there. But these are some things that we do want to work on. One is swiftness in general. We like the idea of swiftness, which is that you build up the swiftness and gives you haste for your shots so you can shoot them faster. We've been tuning it a little bit. I think the last season we did kind of tune it down a bit. However, you'll see more changes to it, up or down or whatnot. The goal with swiftness is really just to incentivize the hunter for landing charged shots. It's kind of like encouraging you to do that rather than just all using, say, instance or something like that. So what I would say is that we're going to work a little bit more on swiftness to make it feel really meaningful and feel like you could feel the swiftness when it's built up. That's important. But then also the goal is not to make it feel like you can't do anything if you don't have swiftness. So but anyway, that's kind of the thread we weave with this mechanic. We also have the little statues that you can activate that generate increased swiftness. And so I like that mechanic. We might juice that up a bit more too to make those more interesting. We also have to do a sound for that animation when you pray to the statue or whatever. So that's like another little thing. So anyways, that's one thing. The second one is traps. So the hunter has 3 traps, right? She has the bear trap, like a standard root one. And then she has the beetle, which is kind of used to the beetle's probably the most experimental one, which is that it can move and home on targets. Really, the vision for the beetle was like, gosh, what's it called right now? The StarCraft remote mines from the vultures, right? Like they kind of just you put them in the ground and they like run and chase someone and they blow up and do damage or stun or that sort of thing. So that's kind of like the idea behind the beetle. I think the beetle right now dies a little too quickly. We like the counterplay of like, oh, you can kill the beetle, but it might die a little too easily. Sometimes accidentally. Sometimes I'll summon or place a beetle on the ground and then a goblin will charge me or something and then just kills the beetle and feels lame. So it's something we're gonna look at. That's like the tricky thing with that spell. And then the third one is the bramble trap. The bramble trap's supposed to be like you create a zone, an area of snare, and it just kind of gets people stuck in it. At some point in time, I think bramble trap did like 6 different things. It did like it did like gosh, what was it? Hemorrhage buildup. Yeah, thank you. I was thinking of the word. Hemorrhage buildup. It did slows. So we've been trying to find the right niche for that spell, but really you want to use that trap if you have melee on you and you want to like kind of kite them and get them off of you and gain some distance, that sort of thing. In general, I think with traps is that they are really important to her gameplay loop, and she is intended to supposed to be a little bit of a zoner and prepper. So she places them around and then kind of kites you into them, and it's supposed to be kind of what her gameplay is supposed to be. So it does matter where you place them, and there's some setup and there's some kind of that sort of thing. They're not supposed to be instant spells you just use and it just always hits a target point blank, that kind of thing. That said, I do think she has this gameplay a little bit too much right now where you get melee on you and it's a lot harder for her than intended. Part of that, I think, is that the hunter in most situations, she should be able to get a few shots on you before she engages. So the way we kind of thought about the hunter, and maybe in some cases the wizard, is that if you're a warrior, or if you're a warrior, probably paladin in particular, they're going to start the encounter with you after they've gotten like at least 1 or 2 shots on you. So you're going to start at like 75% health or something like that. So that is kind of the advantage of being ranged, right? That you do have ranged. But I think right now, I think traps are a little bit there's a little too much of a trap dancing gameplay in melee, and there's a little too not enough of like being able to get a few opening shots on targets. So that's something we're looking at. But one other thing we noticed is that when you kick the trap, the capsule, or like the area trigger basically for it, if like that would hit something, was pretty small, and so it's like a really hard skill shot when you can kick like the bear trap or the bramble trap. So we made that a little more forgiving. We may make that even more forgiving. So, and I know there's some bugs with kicking traps, but anyway, so those are some things that we want to focus on. And then the third one, mobility. we added this mechanic called wind run. So when you evade and then you sprint, you go a little bit faster, and I think it's more efficient with stamina cost. Uh, and It was actually really more powerful when we first built it internally, but then we got nervous because hunters were actually coming back into meta, and we're like, oh crap, we don't want to like over buff them. So we may look at this perk again to make it a little bit better, because this is supposed to be core in your kit of when you're fighting against melee, is be able to have like a little burst of speed after you evade. So we may adjust that a little bit, but we do tend to agree that the mobility is not that great. And we don't want you also to rely on, say, wind arrow. Wind arrow is not supposed to be kind of used for like every encounter you use a wind arrow. It's supposed to be like the special moment of like, you know, you're trying to chase someone who ganked you or something like that. It's supposed to be kind of a rarer opportunity thing when you use the wind arrow. It shouldn't be, it's not intended to be like, oh, every encounter you play, you always use the wind arrow. So that's not supposed to be its role. And then the other thing, lastly, that I put up here that's a goal of ours, we have a lot of other ideas for hunter traits. Like these are the ones that you get when you level up and like you spend a point on. We have some like creative ideas for some that we haven't had a chance to put in yet. She's a little light on traits compared to the other classes, so that's something that you should expect that we'll be adding over time, is just more traits for her. Yeah, so anyway, that's kind of like the list I put together of things that we have planned for the hunter. But one thing I just want to say in particular to the community, because it is supposed to be intended for her. One of her strengths should be that she does range damage and that she can do damage to you before the player notices you. And that's like a core strength of hers. So we always have to keep that in mind with balancing and designing her. She's not exactly supposed to be completely balanced or equal in viability when she's like fighting toe to toe with, say, a warrior or a paladin or any other melee 1v1 with them both having equal health, because otherwise it'll be hard for us to balance the hunter, because if she can get a few shots on you before the encounter and then also is equally viable in toe to toe with every class, it's a little too broken. So anyway, that's kind of my comments there. Did you have anything you wanted to add, Troy, or maybe Andre?
I don't have much to add, since I kind of helped you with. We talked about this list already before this, so it covers the stuff that I was.
Yeah, I do know there's a number of bugs. There's a lot of unintended things that happen with the class. So I think those are things that are top of our list that we will be addressing as we get closer to Gold Master. But yeah, I did put up here. Yeah, elemental arrows. That's one other thing that we want to focus on. We recently improved the frost arrow. One thing we want to change with the fire arrow is make it more of like I forgot if we even did this in the last patch or not, but Nope. Creates like a fire patch area rather than it being explosive, kind of like the grenade. So it'll be more of like a periodic damage area that does fire buildup. And then one thing that we want to play with in the future with the hunter in particular is she can create different perk sets that she can do different buildup. Like she has a build where she could do fire buildup. She has a build where she could do poison buildup, etc. And for example, if you use the poison, the spore bomb, and you use say the lotus arrow, and there's some other perks that interact with poison, that's kind of what we're going for, that we're going to work on and address and build out more gameplay there in the future. So anyway, yeah, I'd expect also that one thing we're going to improve a lot of the elemental arrows, make them have more gameplay intention and more interesting choices there. Yeah. So I think we can move on to the rogue, unless you guys have more comments on the hunter, and then everyone save your questions for the hunter or for any class, and then we'll do them all at once at the end.
All right, rogue time.
All right, Rogue. I think the Rogue feels pretty good right now. We did a lot of changes last patch with the dagger, with that whole gameplay. I know there's some difference of opinion on like feedback on the dagger. Some people like it, some people think, it's close, but it needs some other improvements, etc. But generally, I think the Rogue is in a decent spot from what, how we feel about it. It is going to get this new weapon in the next patch, the Scorpion Tail, which is its third weapon. And so I think this will flesh it out and make it feel, give it like this new vibe and a lot of the perks and stuff like that will feed into like a different type of builds and that sort of thing with this new weapon. So that will be fun. Second, I know Phantom Veil has a lot of bugs and issues, and that's something that we may redesign or address. I know a lot of people like the gameplay or the vision of that, but we always do all these creative ideas that are hard to to make bug free or that sort of thing. But anyway, that's another thing on the list. And the third one is like adrenaline tuning. Adrenaline, again, like all the classes have this like little resource, and Rogue's adrenaline. The idea with adrenaline is that you build it up, and then once you come out of stealth or once you get into an encounter, it buffs your damage, but then depletes. So you're really good. It accentuates and creates this like gameplay for the Rogue about burst damage and doing a lot of damage quickly. But then you can only do it for so long, and then you have to reset, or you hope that you kill that player in that amount of time. So it kind of that's something we've been playing with, improving. For example, the daggers interact with adrenaline very differently than the swords. The swords is kind of more traditional that we're talking about, but the daggers only use adrenaline on the charge attacks, which is hard to do sometimes with like in 1v1 or that sort of thing. So anyway, those are all the things that we'll probably be focusing on the Rogue there. Anything else to add, Troy? Another thing that we talk a lot about in the office is smoke bomb, and like the cost to make smoke bomb, or how powerful it is, or where it lines up, and I guess another one is lockpicks. Lockpicks, another than one that John talks about a lot. That so there may be changes that we may do there too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just want to say that the new way. You go.
Okay. Yeah, I think in general, like, right, one of the goals with the big Rogue changes for this current season was to make the Rogue feel more like a Rogue, where he can jump people out of stealth and get initiation, and not be so reliant on like ranged tools and stuff to play the game. And I think that kind of succeeded, but I'm curious to hear some more of your guys' thoughts. And then we try to make the daggers a little less one note and have some more variety. And I feel like it took a while for those changes to for everybody to figure out a min-max, like the different things they can do with the dagger. But I'm also curious to hear how everyone feels about those kind of two big whether like how successful we were in pushing him more towards those two kind of bigger directions, like after a month and a half of playing with those changes. So yeah.
All right. Next slide. I guess there's a few other things before we'll talk about Paladin. All right. So one thing I did want to talk about of like what we're working on right now, give some updates here. And this is a few things that's Sung also wanted us to talk about. One thing we're working on internally for this next patch is we're updating the Unreal Engine we've been in this version called 5.4 for a while, and so we're upgrading to 5.6. This should improve like performance and improvements there and that sort of thing. And so we're excited to do that. So that will be like in the next patch that we do when it goes live. So this is one of the things internally the team's been working on. It's always kind of a pain when you do this. It's like it kind of slows you down a bit, and there's always these little bugs and stuff that happens when you upgrade it. So anyways, that's what we're working on. We're also working on this port of the game to PlayStation, to PS5. And so this is another thing that we're internally working on a lot. At some point in time, we do have the goal of releasing to other consoles like Xbox or Switch 2, etc. But those will happen a bit later. And then So one thing I do want to mention is we have this next patch that we're working on that we're going to ship sometime in October, and we're calling it Season 3. It's a little fast to do a new season, but there's a few things that we want to test before we do the Gold Master patch later, which I'll talk about a little bit later. And so we kind of want to do an earlier patch or earlier season. It will include a wipe, and then we'll have these 3 new features in it, which is going to be the Rogue's third weapon, which we've talked a lot about, a dedicated arena deathmatch map, and then also leaderboards, and then there's a few other things that we're adding to it as well, which is like, which maybe we'll talk about later, so we could save something for that. So anyways, that's what we're working on now. And then can you go to the next slide? Yeah, so here's really the schedule here. We have this autumn sale that we're doing right now, and it ends the 6th. So basically Steam always has these like sales that they do every season. And so we're just participating in this. And so that's going on until the 6th. Is a 20% discount on all the SKUs. So if you want to buy like one of the other editions, it's in there. And then the Season 3 patch I'm talking about, which it's kind of an early season wipe. We know that, but we kind of really want to do this because for a number of different reasons. There's a bunch of stuff that we want to test in there. So anyways, we're going to do this Season 3 wipe, and it's going to be a new content patch on the 21st of October. And then one thing is we're also going to do a bunch of marketing for Season 3. It's another thing we want to test a bunch of marketing for this patch update. As I mentioned in the past, Season 2 we pretty much did zero marketing or anything for it. It was to really build out a few things, which was the new player experience with Goldbrook and PvE mode, as well as the monetization. So there wasn't like a lot of like new end game content or anything in that patch. But those were important for us to get in there before the eventual Gold Master release at some point in time. But for this Season 3, we want to go back and kind of test a few things with marketing. We have a newer marketing team that we're working with, so we want to test a lot of new marketing creative strategies and that sort of thing, which would be helpful for once we eventually do release the game to Gold Master. So anyways, those are some announcements there of like what we want to do in these future patches. I think is that the final slide, Andre?
There's one more. I don't know what's in there. Do I next it? Boom.
What is it?
I don't know. Oh, it's.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and there's a few questions that I'm happy to answer any questions about any of these like patch plans and that sort of thing. But a few of these that we kind of knew that we would get already is will the game have crossplay or cross progression between PC and console? This is for the Gold Master release with PlayStation. We won't have crossplay or cross progression out the gate. Reason being is because it creates a lot of balance issues for the game from having players play on console versus on PC. The game we do think will play really well on controller, but even then it's a big challenge to kind of make the controller feel good against mouse and keyboard. So out the gate we're not going to do it. What are the plans for marketing? Like I mentioned, we have a new marketing team now that we want to test some things with this next patch that we're doing that we're calling Season 3. So we have a new marketing team, and so that's the plan there. And then for Season 3 release, it's also going to have a free-to-play weekend. So it's coming out the 21st, I think, and then the Thursday through Monday, I think it is. After that will be a free-to-play weekend with Steam. So we did this once before in the Season 1 patch, and so we're going to do that again, just to kind of get a lot of testing in this patch. With this new arena mode, it's going to be a dedicated arena mode that you can queue just in the main UI. And so it'll be really fun to play this with a little bit more, with some new players and that sort of thing. All right.
That's it. That's the end of the slides. So we could go into some Q&A, or we could show the Paladin first. Should I just hop in the editor? Do I reveal it?
Yep. Go ahead.
Oh,
yeah.
you're gonna show it? I
If-
had the editor waiting this whole time.
If you want to show
That's
it, you can
fine.
show it as well, but it's gonna look bad on YouTube. Because then I'll have to like take your frame and
Okay.
stretch it out. But if you want to do it,
Alright.
you can record.
No, that's fine. Fine.
You
I
sure?
can just talk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you like backseat gamey. Tell me what to do, okay? Alright, so a couple of caveats here. It's obviously work in progress. He's still early. His armor, you'll see. He's missing some stuff. And we're not gonna show
Yeah,
any
animations
traits or
are-
perks, but yeah.
Anims are early too. If I was gonna put him on a scale of completion, I would say he's probably sitting at about like, so bronze is like super early, silver is like middle, and then gold is like finished. He's definitely in like the bronze silver range. So be a little gentle.
Alright, well, we have two weapons for him. We have shield and sword, and we have the big hammer. It's the final model, by the way. So it's gonna stay. And yeah, do you want to like talk through it, Mel? How do we do this? We didn't. we
You
didn't
starting
plan
with the
anything.
hammer?
We can go sword
we
because
planned
Mel's been
nothing.
working on the sword.
All right.
So we can,
So he's got a 5-hit auto combo, and when I was doing this, I wanted to kind of like, I wanted to give him like some real dynamic posing and stuff like that when he's swinging. So he does some pretty crazy stuff that I don't think we've ever really done with any of our characters before. It's like I start stretching limbs and stuff like that, which you can't really see it when it's full speed. But if you do manage to like pause and his arm is like bent backwards or something, that's a trick we use in order to help show speed. But when it came to like animating him, it was just a lot of so I've been doing this kind of like sword and sorcery kind of animations for basically my entire career. So it's something I really enjoy doing, is making it look dynamic and cool. But yeah, so he's got the 5-hit combo, and then he has a charged left click, which has 2 stages, and you can do it on either the left or the right side. If you do like a short charge, he just does like a sword thrust, and if you hold it down all the way, then he does a follow-up swing, like slash. And then and like I said, you can do that charged attack kind of like in the middle of your combo at any point. So like as long as you're whichever side you end up on, and if you start charging at that side, then that's the side he'll do the charge from. We had a request from the designers to make him do a barrel roll when he evades. So we've got that going on. And if you attack on your way out of that, he does a nice upward slash. It's like a slideshow for me for some reason.
is it?
So you just I don't know why. It might not be for y'all. I can't really see what's going on.
Someone asking about pip amount. That's literally it's been copy pasted from the warrior. I don't think it's gonna stay at that many. It's at 8 right now. It's probably not gonna be as much as the warrior. We'll see. I'm not sure. But yeah, a lot of the values. Like, don't look at the
Arcavian
numbers
wants to see
necessarily.
the walking animation.
Sure.
Yeah, the Paladin has this like wall shield, so it's yeah, I don't know. It kind of begs for it to have a lot of block
Maybe.
pips.
Maybe he'll have more.
But we haven't really landed on exact pip value just yet.
You wanna see the walk? Chad walk. There he is. And I could talk a little bit about the skills that we're gonna show. If we want to talk about, do you want to talk about skills? And like kind of how he works? And the seals and everything?
Yeah.
Do we show everything, Chris? How much do we show?
Yeah, we can go through it. It's still work in progress, so it's not fully completed yet. But even the design. So I wouldn't get too attached to anything. We may kind of pivot a bit, but yeah, we can go through it.
Did you show the sprint attack?
Sure. Sprint attack. Boom.
And no, the damage numbers are not final.
Yeah. There's a sprint attack.
It is not a priest copy pasta. It is a Troy copy
I think it's
pasta.
using the priest
A movie
VFX
Troy.
maybe.
Not
Yeah.
not the.
Oh,
not
there,
the
it has no VFX on it just yet. So.
Yeah, VFX have not been done for this, so everything is temp. Obviously, the armor looks like it looks, and so okay, I'll talk a little bit
I
about.
did the priest attack too.
You did? I think they meant the VFX for it. This VFX is indeed copy pasted from the priest, because like I said, we don't have
Oh yeah, for sure.
VFX for Paladin yet.
Or the Buckley one.
That looks good. It matches. It's perfect. Okay, so a little bit like overview on how the Paladin works. So he will have these seals. I'm not sure if you have them forever, if you're gonna have to craft them in game. I'm not sure how they work exactly, but they're kind of like stances. Right now they have no cooldown. They're kind of like Lucio stances. When you activate it, it has an immediate effect, and then it has like a passive permanent aura. So everything's obviously temp. But we have one that increases your armor, we have one that increases your like stamina regen, one that increases your resistance to afflictions, one that heals a little bit over time. This one might be a bit too broken. We might change them a little bit, but the idea is you can change the aura you have, change these seals. And then based on which seal you have active, a bunch of your abilities like just change. So for the sword and shield, the Q ability, right now it does nothing, but the point is going to be a buff on yourself and an ally based on which seal you have active. Actually, it does something. I think this one gives you unstoppable. It's just you don't see it on this sword. One of them gives you unstoppable. One of them increases armor. One of them can just straight up heal you. One of them can remove afflictions. Based on which seal you have active, your Q does something else. And then also based on which seal you have active, your number one ability, Judgment, where you throw a hammer, placeholder, everything placeholder. You throw a hammer, and then based on which seal you have active, it debuffs the enemy with this one. Looks to be like a armor decrease. Okay. And there's obviously you have 4 seals or maybe more, so 4 different effects. So there's a lot of potential there. And then another skill we have is once you throw your hammer and it's down there, you can activate your number 3, and your hammer comes towards you. You go towards your hammer, you apply all the effects again, and then you meet halfway. You're probably gonna do some big damage where you meet in the middle, but right now you just do nothing. But that's like one of his mobility abilities, so you get like halfway in. And one more in the same bucket, we have Avenger's Call, which I like. It's a very good ability to abuse the map right now, but we're gonna patch that.
Yeah.
So you throw your hammer. Have you guys ever played the Sombra in Overwatch? You throw your hammer, and then you just fly up, and you're supposed to land where your hammer is. And again, right now you can kind of just get outside of the map, because you can throw it on roof. You can throw it in. I made this little mountain here, and we'll have to put some guardrails in place, because it's very easy to just leave the map. Just say, okay, I'm out. I'm done. So you can use this. The point is, with this ability, is kind of slow, but it does cover a lot of distance. So it's gonna be a balance of since it comes out so slow, it's probably gonna have to do some big damage where it lands. But it's gonna be kind of hard to like actually use in when you're like melee fighting. And we have one more skill that is very early. Okay, this one I don't even want to show this because they all look bad, but there it is. You summon. Okay, this one might change a lot, and it doesn't do anything right now. But the idea is you summon a kind of a guardian angel that charges towards you and like grabs people along the way towards you. So you could do some some sandwiching techniques. And like squish them. Oh, wrong button, wrong ability. Anyway, you get the point. I don't know. This one might change completely. This one might not stay at all. But yeah, that's what we got for that as well. And that's kind of the kit. We also have the hammer, which is our heaviest weapon. I think it's heavier than the warrior axe. It's extremely slow on the right click. It's like very, very slow. Numbers are placeholders, but obviously the numbers will kind of match how heavy it is. And the Q is a very large AoE, big damage. Maybe too much damage. But yeah, and then it's kind of similar, Jesus, in that it does, this one's like super slow, massive damage. So you're trading all the defensive of this sword and shield for just, you know, you're an animal now, but a very slow animal. And I think that's what we're gonna show. We're not gonna show too much more. Right?
Yeah, there's more stuff to show, like the traits and stuff at some point in time, but we could wait on that for now. One thing with the Paladin, with his mechanic, like his resource, or you know, kind of like his adrenaline or his that sort of thing, or his swiftness, is it's right now we're kind of like retribution. So how it works is that when the Paladin's attacked, or his allies, your allies are attacked, he gains like power. Like it's either damage or movement or I think or even just resource cooldown reductions or something. We haven't really found the right effect for it just yet. But so anyway, so he's kind of like this, has this protector vibe and that sort of thing. So anyways, yeah, that's like the early look here that we're working on. A lot of stuff that has to be finished really is just kind of art and visual stuff, which you know is all the stuff that you're kind of seeing right now. But yeah, it's coming together really good, really quick. So
yeah, people are asking if Paladin's gonna have double weapon like the warrior. No, the warrior is the master of arms. Yeah. Only the warrior can do that. Right now he has it just for ease of testing, because it's easier to just do this and not get exhausted when we swap weapons. But he won't. You'll have to he'll have only one weapon. And the reason why he deforms
what the Paladin can swap is like the seals. Which instead of auras, we're calling them like rallies. And he kind of just so you can kind of swap based on, if you're playing a wizard, you may want to use the seal that reduces magical damage. If you're fighting against a rogue who's running away, you may want to use the movement speed one, that kind of thing. So, and it buffs not only you but your allies as well.
Yep. All right, I think that's the end of the presentation of, you know, everything we wanted to show right now. So we can just open it up. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, unless you wanted to show anything, Mel, in particular that we didn't.
No, we showed everything. I think the thing that I'm kind of like happiest with that came out, not that anybody asked, was the the super jump, and the autos. I think came out really good, and I really like the. I haven't told Barry this because I don't like to give him too much praise. His head gets too big, but the changes he made to the hammer came out really nice. Yeah. So yeah, the hammer looks like it's hitting nasty. Did you show the cue for that one?
I did, yeah.
Slideshow for me. Yeah.
Again, these things don't have.
Yeah, so the Q is sort of like he'll gain unstoppable during it. So it's sort of a Q. It's a little similar to like say the warrior using rampage. So he just does these attacks as part of the combo, and so you just kind of have to commit to that. But yeah. Well, awesome. All right, we've talked a lot. I feel like we could open up for questions now. Let me see. Maybe I can bring some.
Yeah, if you guys can bring someone, that'll be easier for me because I don't have enough monitors.
All right. I'll bring somebody up. Let's see. All right, pressure.
Broke it.
Yo, can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Really like the game. I really appreciate these Meet the Devs that y'all do. I've never played a game that has these, so I think it's really cool. I have one question, really. Sorry, I just ran up a lot of stairs. I'm kind of out of breath. So
Uh-oh, you cut
Oh,
out.
You cut out, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably get onto your Wi-Fi is probably what's happening.
Yeah, there's an example of the stretching I was talking about. And I have to stretch this character out to make him look like he's speeding.
It's hard to catch.
Uh-oh.
You're muted.
Pressure, you're muted. Well, I'll bring you up after. Or let's bring somebody up while we're waiting.
Okay, I'll move him back to audience.
Wait.
Oh, he's back.
Oh wait,
Hello?
there he is.
Can you hear
Oh,
me?
shit, I
Pressure, go
connected-
ahead.
Sorry, I connected to my Wi-Fi randomly. Did y'all hear my question?
No.
We didn't.
No.
We didn't. Go ahead.
We heard snow.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, my question, well, I have two questions, but the first one, is this game being balanced for solos or trios?
Yeah, good question. I think we're trying to make the game balanced for as many modes as we can. The way that we're trying to, our strategy for this long term, which isn't fully realized yet, is that the player would be able to choose different weapons, or weapons with different perks, or armor with different perks, or abilities and that sort of thing to work with a group if that's what they want to play in. For example, you may want to play the priest and then use a staff that heals and like some healing traits and stuff like that if you're playing in a group, let's say. But if you're solo, you may want to play the sword and buckler with something that does more damage or control or something like that, and that may be a solo build. So in that kind of way, we have the priest that can be viable solo or in squad. And I also think in theory the sword and buckler priest can also be good in a squad too, right? So we're trying to make it viable for as many modes as that we can. It's a challenge. It's hard to do. Like, for example, the other game that I tried to balance classes for on WoW, the PvP philosophy was the game was balanced for squads for threes, because it was almost impossible to balance, we had thought, for solos. But I do think that makes sense. We can balance the game for as many modes as we can by using the trait system, by using, or not traits, but perks, and using the skill system and weapons and that sort of thing. So that's the North Star. That's the goal. But I wouldn't say we're quite there yet, because we have more work to do on traits for gear and weapons and balance and that sort of thing.
Gotcha. Okay. I would just like to say one thing about the solo balance right now. It feels like Hunter and Priest are struggling in solos to me, because they lack kill potential, in the sense that someone runs away and you have no ability to chase them. So, for example, a rogue could Visage TP or Phantom Veil TP away, and then hit a blue pot, and they're full HP, and we have nothing to chase them with.
Got it. Yeah, like they have too much escape, you're saying.
Yeah, and we have no ability to get after them. So we do have the wind arrow. I know Trickery has told me to use the wind arrow before, but it's pretty unreliable right now. But yeah, I think solo, Hunter, and Priest are really struggling.
Okay.
But and then beyond that, I just have one more question.
Well, I had one question about that. What you said.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Are you saying like in deathmatch? Are you saying like in the open world? Or are you saying?
Well, so I think we should always balance the game around extraction, because that's just the core gameplay loop. I mean,
Right.
You guys are releasing Arena, so that might change things up. But yeah, I think the game should always be balanced around extraction.
No, I completely agree. Yeah. I mean, they all should be taken in consideration, but I was just curious where your feedback was on. Gotcha. Yeah, my experience with the priest a lot of times is it's hard to run away from her, because she can kind of, levitate over things and pursue you. But yeah, I get your points there. Yeah, it's something we'll think about.
Awesome. And then I just have like my only other question. So start of the season, we removed BR, obviously, but we also nerfed like 5 other things on Hunter at the same time. Was this just not really understanding how B-Hop would affect Hunter, or did you guys take that into account, or what was the idea behind that? Is my only question.
Yeah, Troy. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, Hunter definitely dominated the previous season, right? So there was going to be multiple.
Yeah,
nerfs
I'd
probably
agree.
in her
It was
way.
very overturned.
Yeah, and I would say like taking bunny hopping out, it was like it was a big unknown, right? I like could not have fully predicted, like I knew it was gonna have an impact, but I wasn't exactly sure how much it was gonna be. So the question of why was there 5 other nerfs on top of the bunny hop? It's because it sounds like I underestimated like how detrimental it was going to be to her matchups. So she's a little underpowered because of taking that tool away, combined with everything else for sure. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Whoops.
All right, cool. Well, I appreciate y'all's time.
No problem. I was gonna say too on balancing solos versus other configuration stuff. Like, this season's changes, I estimated like 70 to 80% of them are like plucked and like either used directly or barely modified suggestions directly from you guys, from like reading all the threads and stuff. And so just because that's the majority of feedback that we are getting from you guys, like I would say like solos hold some, or 1v1 situations hold some more weight in the balancing decisions, just because we're mostly incorporating feedback that we get from you guys, right? Which it seems to be largely is in the context of 1v1s. But it is hard to pull apart. It's interesting that you're saying some of your feedback is coming from 1v1 extraction. I have to like try to filter and figure out which mode, because even when people give feedback about 1v1, it's like Goldbrook, like it's then the question too is like, well, is this in an unlimited consumables fight or not, or something too, because that kind of colors it. But yeah, so I don't know. I hope that helps give you some more insight on the feedback loop. You guys giving us feedback, and then we make changes based on what you're telling us. I think does mean that 1v1s are probably playing the biggest role just because of that.
Yeah, if I can make one recommendation, it would be to continue bouncing around solos, but make obviously every game mode playable for each class, and then bounce around extraction. I think that would be the best route. But I appreciate all the work that you guys are doing, and buff the drop rates, please.
Yeah, that's one thing
guys.
that I also forgot to talk about. For season 3, we're doing we're changing the drop rates for gear a lot to make them a lot more. Pretty much everything the drop rates will just increase across the board. Is kind of like the idea. But yeah, we'll have more to share on that in the next couple Meet the Devs. All right. Well, thanks for the question. Modus.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, can hear you.
Perfect. I basically just want to talk about the double evade attack on Dagger and it being red. So my biggest concern is it's combined into the bread and butter mechanic for free at no additional cost. And this is kinda insane to me, because they can interrupt everything we try to do. If they brawl us, we double evade away, they can just follow up with 35 stamina to us and interrupt anything I try to counter it. So they just stay at us, and I don't see how 35 stamina can give them so much power when other double evade cost 50 or 60 or more.
We could remove it. It was, I thought it might be a little strong when it was on the list of stuff we should put into the game for this season, but it was kind of like an experiment, right? So it's like we might have gone a little bit. The idea was to make the rogue able to brawl better, and so that's just giving another tool that lets them do more stuff like close range. But yeah, it sounds like in some matchups it's a little bit like oppressive, is what you're saying, specifically against priest, or is there other classes that you feel like it makes it almost unfair to play against.
I think what makes it really unfair is Hunter has a bow that makes him unstoppable, I think. It's unstoppable, yes. It just counters this exactly, completely. The Q on Ice Wizard is basically useless if the rogue can double evade him while he uses it. But I don't think the broken part is it going through block. I think it being a red attack is the problem. That he can just follow up with a double evade on everything and interrupt every single counter you try to do to get him not coming to you. Like, is it the pre-stack attack? Is it a Warrior Quake or whatever? They can just straight up interrupt it. And it's just into their core mechanic that they use anyway. Like, double evade attack is something they do since Season 0, and it's just their main combat style they do. So I think it's just a free god attack for no additional cost.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's 35 stamina doesn't sound like it. Like a rogue just kind of shrugs that off, and it's not really what they're getting in return for paying that 35 stamina is like a bigger reward than the cost.
A way bigger reward, because my double evade, I take just a priest example here. My double evade is 60 stamina. It has kind of big of range. The range is kind of big, yeah, but the double evade of dagger is just 1.5 or 2 normal steps away from catching to me. So if I double evade and want to get away from him, I need to sheath my weapon, and this gives him the time to connect to me. So I'm just stuck in a loop of evading and having to trade stamina with him that I cannot win in the end, because his double evade just costs a lot less. And if I'm low on stamina, he will just have grapple or PD or the spider leap that he can again connect to me.
Okay. I was trying to remember what the meterage is on the double evade on the priest versus double evade plus attack on the rogue. I'll have to look. I can't remember exactly what it is. But it's, yeah, 25 stamina is a big difference if they're covering the same distance.
Almost the same. They can... A sword rogue connects me, but that's fine. I mean, it's not red. Dagger rogue is just 2 steps away from connecting. If I sheath my weapon, he will connect to me, because I'm not getting any distance anymore.
Oh boy, if you think Rogue has too much mobility with the daggers, just you wait for October 21st. Oh boy.
That's as long as it's not unblockable. No, I just think it doesn't fit the core mechanic or principle of red attacks that normally should be high commitment mechanics. It just feels too free to have.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think we'll talk about it and look at it, for sure. There's a lot of these things, like Troy said, we're just trying to do some experiments and seeing how they feel, and look. One thing in particular with the daggers and with the rogue kits in general is we kind of thought they needed a lot more. One of the big things we were trying to move the rogue away from was the main loop, especially with the daggers, was Phantom Dagger, Cheap Shot, and then Backstab, and then reset and keep doing that. And so we really wanted to make it more interesting and incentivize using normals and evade, like the combat triangle is what we call it. And so that's why we kind of threw in a bunch of these different experiments there. But yeah, hearing you, I think you make a lot of good points of why it might be too much. And so anyway, yeah, we'll talk about that.
I think if it's possible, because I talked to Adriano, just make it pierce block, but not being red, that it can interrupt blue and red attacks. That would be an idea, I guess.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks
anyway,
for the question.
Thank you very much,
it.
and see you around.
All right. Thank you.
See you later.
Okay. Let's see.
So Nerf Hunters, yeah?
All right.
You're wrong for that.
Tragic.
You wanna get someone on, Chris, or should I?
I did. I invited somebody. Let's see if they
Okay,
come up.
okay.
I'll bring up Rakan.
I was gonna suggest that.
Yo. Yo.
Yo.
I think first and foremost, I need to apologize for some of the things I said. You guys don't deserve that, so I'll man up and just apologize to you guys. Shouldn't say that. It's wrong. I take it too far sometimes, but it comes from a place of passion. So I apologize for that. As far as my question, do you guys like where STAM is currently at? So even when an individual stands out, there are certain abilities or aspects to classes that allow them to not necessarily feel as punished compared to some other classes. Do you like that, or is that something we're looking to?
You have like a concrete example?
Yeah, I mean, the easy one is if a warrior stands out, they hold block. If they run out of block, they leap away. At that point, Stam is going to be back at that point. For me, at least as a hunter, if I stand out, I'm pretty much dead at that point. There's nothing really I can do unless I can stick them in a bear trap. I'm curious if you guys would like to maybe say abilities now lose effectiveness when stand out as well. Meaning like maybe that leap isn't as far, or maybe the block isn't as potent when stammed out, or maybe they can't block. I'm just kind of curious if you think stamming out is in a good place, because like I said, I know if I had experience on a warrior, I could buy a lot of time even when stammed out.
I think probably the biggest issue, and it's interesting you do say the warrior, is that it's another experiment, another thing that we played with, which is the warrior can kind of use rage for mobility. And so basically kind of in a sense has 2 stamina bars, right? And so once you're stammed out, now you just use rage. Then when your stamina regen, then you go back to stamina. And that's kind of what causes this kind of like issue. And so, you know, one could say, well, there should be a hardcore rule of like, kind of like what Modus is saying, there should be a rule for like mobility comes out of stamina, and that's where, you know, it's all contained there to balance the situation that you're talking about. Similar situation with a hunter, right? Although way less of a situation where, oh, I'm out of stamina, I can't sprint anymore, so I'll use the wind arrow or these sort of things. A little bit of it is probably okay, but I do sympathize with the warrior issue. Also, the problem with rage being used for mobility is that then it's not really being used for damage, and then it's kind of like, what's the point of rage? Because rage is supposed to be like, oh, you know, I get hit a lot or I generate a lot through my attacks and I use it for more damage. Like rage should equal kind of like threat of damage. Whereas right now it's like rage equals more mobility, you know, which isn't bad. It's like, I'm not against the idea, but the problem is just that, yeah, it causes a situation like you're talking about.
It's very similar to Hunter. It's a compounding resource. So one thing leads into another. So yes, the warrior gains more mobility, but with that mobility, that puts them in a better spot to do more damage. With more damage, they get more rage. With more rage, they get more ability, and this cycle continues. It's the same thing with swiftness right now. So you shoot faster, you get more swiftness, but then the swiftness also enables you to shoot faster. So now you're shooting faster on top of gaining swiftness, which enables you to gain even more swiftness on top of that. So it's one of those compounding resources that I think, if not looked at, can really spiral really fast.
Right. I can understand that. Yeah, some of this is like baked in. We kind of know that like more swiftness equals more attacks, and you ramp it. It kind of has like this curve of building up. That's kind of like we know that like when we created it, so that's kind of okay. But the mobility thing is a trickier thing that we do have to, you know, thanks for reminding us. That is something we have to look at. But other than that, do you think stamina is in an okay place?
I think stamina is, for the most part, across the board, including food buffs, gems, etc. I think stamina is in a pretty good place. I just think there's certain things that when you do stam out, it's almost like an oh shit button that you can rely on for bad play, in essence. And then also, if I do have your time, do you guys like where afflictions are at? Because right now, certain afflictions are essentially win cons in certain matchups. Do you like where they're at?
We like update afflictions every season pretty much. I would say they're not completely fully realized yet. We will touch them up before Gold Master for sure, mostly to kind of tuning. But yeah.
Fair enough.
The vision was for some of them to be like alternate win conditions.
Mhm.
So that was the goal of a few of them. Is there like, are you talking about like disease specifically is like one of them, or?
I don't play rogue, so I don't have disease, so I can't speak to that. But frostbite is incredibly strong still. I think it wasn't supposed to reduce stamina regen. I think that's still in the game, so I don't know if it's supposed to be there or not. But nonetheless, if I'm able to proc frostbite, it's pretty much over. I have to throw at that point to lose a fight. But I don't want to
That's
take any more of your time.
interesting.
I appreciate you guys. I gotta get back to work, so appreciate you.
Okay.
All right. Well, thanks for the question.
Take care.
All right. Let's see if Vig is there.
Hello?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hello?
Yeah, I could hear you.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to pick your guys' brain to see how you guys feel about the power gap between commons and epics. Say someone's like all epiced out and someone's all commoned. I feel like it's still a pretty level playing field. But I haven't been playing recently, so maybe things have changed. But the last time I was playing, it felt like I might as well have just been in greens also.
Mhm.
But I'm also trash at the game, so that could be it too.
Yeah, I think it's in an okay spot. It's something that probably we want to test more about. I do think skill is probably more important than gear in our game. You could argue maybe gear should be more impactful than skill, a little more. But yeah, I think once we do this season 3 update with the arena, it will be interesting because how it will work is it will be bring your own gear, so it will be a good place to test kind of gear differences between balance. We do want to play with other modes too, like have templated things and stuff like that. But yeah, anyway. I'm more curious, I guess, the player's kind of viewpoint on this question about gear differences and how it feels in gear difference, between, say, blues and epics or commons and epics. I think it makes a lot of sense if you're playing in commons and whites versus somebody in purples and epics that the epic player has a significant advantage, even if they have our lower skill. But yeah.
I think either direction is good. Like saying skill like overpowers gear level. I just like when I got my purple like set, I felt underwhelmed. Where I was like, I'm still getting shit on. But again, like I'm also bad. But yeah. When I was chasing that, like the month I was playing, I was like, okay, well now all this grinding is gonna be worth it because now I can shit on people, even though I'm not as good. But it didn't feel that way. It felt like, well, skill always triumphed, which is okay. It's just I didn't know what kind of philosophy you guys had when designing the game.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is important that gear does matter, and that let's say, for example, gears doesn't matter very much, and it's really just all about skill. A really good player in commons will pretty much beat a player in epics if they're 30% better than them. That's probably too much, right? So in terms of, because we'll just have a game pretty much of really incredibly hardcore players and that's about it. So that's probably too much. So the idea, I do think the game should be a little bit more about skill than gear, but I would say ideally, and which is impossible to really design, would just be like 60-40 or something like that in terms of like skill to gear. But it's like really hard to execute on that. I guess that's kind of like the vision. But yeah.
I was gonna say I can give like the ballpark like percentage stat gain you get from each tier of gear just to give that information to help inform anybody that's like trying to form an opinion about it. Right now it's like is a 20% jump in stats as you go up in each tier, so from common to green, green to blue, and blue to purple and whatever. So white to purple you should have about 60% more stats, but it actually increases more than 20% when you get to like blue and purple, just because of the gem slots. So the gem slots and like food buffs and everything, you really like go into blues and purples, you're probably jumping up like 20 5% or something like that in the stats. So I don't know if that helps. Also, yeah, also the scaling is different depending on the class too. So like one example is like the warrior keeps going up in damage by 20% with each tier, but like the wizard, his physical defense is not going up 20% each tier because he's weak in physical defense. So we kind of have this weirdness where like the warriors are able to do these insane like 80% HP like combos on wizards when they're equally matched at like epic gear, because yeah, the warrior damage kept going up 20%, but then the wizard like physical defense only is going up like 5% or 10% or something per jump in tier because he's just weaker in physical defense. So some of the matchups feel like extra unbalanced at different gear levels just because of that. Yeah.
And then have you guys ever considered having, so I know it's almost like standard for extractions to have vendors and almost like that kind of page where you could just click on them. Have you guys ever considered having almost like another social hub, like a town or like a main street, where you could kind of walk up to the vendors and then have that UI still pop up, but it's a little more immersive. It's like kind of cool. I don't know. I feel like that your guys' art style is so cool. I feel like it could be utilized a little more. And maybe have like other players interact, go into vendors and stuff.
Yeah, it's a question that we get a lot. We've got this question since the pre-alpha. We're not against the idea. It's just it's a costly feature, right? Like for each vendor we create, we could have created a class armor set or something like that. So we're not against the idea. It's just we have to find the right time for it. Yeah, like basically a social hub. It would be if you take the social hub right now, Goldbrook, and you add the vendors, you could trade and you could access the vendors and crafting stations from the lodge, etc., from the social hub. Yeah, we're not against the idea. I think at some point in time we could totally do something like that.
Okay, that's cool. Have you guys played Fellowship at all?
I have a little bit, yeah.
Did you like it?
That's a whole other Meet the Devs. I think there's some interesting stuff about it. I think it's just, I'll give my like very quick take. It's essentially kind of like Dungeons if you pulled it out of WoW or an RPG or something like that, and it's like the whole game. I think it's a really compelling, interesting idea, and I think there is a market for that. But I think it's always a challenge, and this is a challenge with our game too, with Legacy, is that Legacy is kind of like if you pulled World PvP or PvP from an MMO and kind of made it its own game in some way. And so there's pros to that. It's kind of streamlines it. It makes it more accessible. Like you don't have to do, if that's really what you care about. And there were many WoW, PvPers who really only played PvP in the game. So in a lot of ways, in theory, like our game should be the ideal game for them. Like for example, Zarya or something like that. But I think what I've learned and what is true is that people also like having the grander world as like a backdrop and be able to do other features and bounce between different experiences in a shared world too. And so, so it creates that challenge, which for me, when I played the game, I kind of was thinking about like, oh, maybe I want to play WoW again or something, because there is a benefit of having some of the other features existing in the same game, which is always a challenge, like for us too, right? Of like, hey, if Legacy is kind of PvP from an MMO or RPGs and stuff like that, we have to be better than those other games, right? Like we have to improve upon it. It can't just be literally just that feature pulled out and then its own little game, because otherwise, why would you play our game versus MMO PvP in a different game, right? Anyway, yeah. Why do you ask? I can't remember if I guess they did have like some social hub with crafting and stuff. Is that what you're talking about?
I asked because I know a few Meet the Devs ago you were talking about how you wanted to do a little PvE in this game, like say like an instance raid. So I don't know, that game seems really simple, where you kind of just hop in and out of games, almost like a Call of Duty match, where you kind of just rolled into a match with like, there was so few people playing, and I was getting insta queues right away, because I feel like the concept is very simple, like the gear is very simple. So I thought maybe like if you guys were interested in doing something like that it would be. It looks like they made it very easy to implement that kind of gameplay.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. It's kind of they just create this experience in there, and you can like it's streamlined. You can kind of queue it and that sort of thing. Yeah. I think it's something we'll talk about in the future, for sure. As we grow legacy in the game and stuff like that. You know, I don't know how long you've been with us, but it's something I've talked about for a long time, is like growing the game's audience and adding more experiences to it and stuff like that. But yeah, we'll probably do a deeper talk about that and later Meet the Devs.
Okay. Well, thank you guys for your time. You have a good one.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Patrick.
thanks for the questions. Thank you.
Chris, I
All
have
right. Anybody you want to bring up, Andre? I know we're a little bit over, but I feel like we can get answer a few more questions.
Before we bring someone else, people in chat were asking me, and I don't know if maybe we want to dedicate like a different Meet the Devs to this. People were asking about the arena map, if we could see, if they could see something. Do you want to like save it for a future review?
Yeah, I was thinking about showing it the next Meet the Devs.
Okay.
But yeah, we'll show it the next one.
Okay.
It's pretty cool though.
I asked, yeah, I told them it's pretty much done. It looks great, but maybe we'll have like Aaron or someone who worked on it show it.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Yeah, we could bring up Aaron. Maybe Nace. He's awake.
Yeah. It's gonna be really late for Nace. Got Arcavian.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Yo.
Just want to say, incredible work. Everything's looking phenomenal. Very happy to be a part of this game as it grows. But I have a few questions that I would want to ask over the journey of today's MTD. But I don't have much to say to the Hunter. It was a very interesting information that we received about him. So I just have stuff about the Rogue. And it's mainly just due to the cheap shot. Right now in this season, I found often where I would duel a Rogue, and the cheap shot I would dodge right before the animation goes through, and the Rogue would go into their bleed effect, or their claw poison, or their bleed poison. Sorry, their poison or their bleed claw. And while they're doing this animation, the cloud is still up, and I will do my animation because I dodged the cheap shot, so I was gonna punish him for it, and the cheap shot would still stun me. So I just feel like the cloud lingers for so long. That's my only negative for Rogue. But we can jump into the next question if you're down.
Yeah, it travels 5 meters forward over. I don't know. It's got like a projectile speed of like 500, or something. So it'd be like one second, I think, to travel those 5 meters. Maybe it's a half second. I'd have to look.
Are you dodging outside
I
of
just
it
feel like
and
it
then still
lingers.
getting hit, or are you just dodging backwards?
Yes, I'll dodge out of it, whether left or right. I have multiple clips of it happening of different directions, and the Rogue would do the cheap shot, the animation will go through, then they'll follow up their combo with another input, which would be the poison claw or the bleed claw, for example, or maybe some left clicks, randomly. And I would notice that the cheap shot missed because my dodge was successful, so I would go in with my attack to counter it, which would be a jump attack or like a dodge left click to go back in to close the range, and I would still get hit with their stun.
Maybe the
Because
projectile
it's
volume
been
might
staying
be
up
too
and
big.
lingers for so long.
Send us the
Did you
clip.
see the cloud still on the screen, or was it gone and totally?
The smoke was
missing?
still on the screen. Yeah, it was still on the screen for sure. So like I know it's intentional, like it's not like it's a bug or whatever. I'm just claiming that it's very powerful because it causes rogues to, even if they miss the cheap shot, to still land the cheap shot.
Yeah, they could just stay in their own cloud for a little bit, kind of.
Yeah, it's good feedback.
Yeah.
The next question I had was, will the arena have MMR, or is everybody going to be queuing into the same people?
Yeah, for the time being, so we have like a crawl, walk, run kind of plan with it, of like growing it over time and adding more features and capabilities. For its debut, it won't have MMR just yet. That's something we do want to add over time as the game grows and that sort of thing. And do like more like a tournament structure probably is another idea that we have. But anyway, yeah, the initial version that we're going to release for the season 3 won't have MMR.
Cool. What information will the leaderboards display?
uh, yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit later. Because I 100% don't know exactly yet. There is a goal for the arena for the leaderboards to have like sort of a win-loss kind of tally on it. It's sort of like a win-loss ratio or something, perhaps could be interesting. Um, uh, there was an idea for one of the leaderboards essentially. So when you go do the extraction map, right, and you loot things and you bring all the items in your gear and you extract with them, each item has a value, right? They have at least a gold value or a glint value. So I think it could be interesting if you tally up all that value, and then there's a leaderboard of like how much, like who's gotten the most like loot or something like from extraction could be interesting. Deaths and kills, I think, makes sense. I'm curious from the community what leaderboards you think would be the most interesting for sure. Maybe we could add that as a feedback thing in the feedback site. Could be good to hear, what your requests are, because we're putting that feature together right now. Yeah, frogs killed per map. Yeah, that's
Nice.
a
Maybe like a leaderboard for
Walmart
like the
like that.
PvE nerds who like because you said you can do Morthog in its own instance, right?
Sorry, well, say that one more time.
If you guys had plans to, because I believe you guys said you had plans to put Morthog in its own instance, you can give them a
Yeah.
leaderboard to put like the fastest kill or the most kills or whatever for themselves,
Mhm,
like a
mhm.
PvP
Yeah,
and a
yeah.
PvE leaderboard.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a good one. Yeah.
But my last thing isn't really much of a question, or it's kind of a question, but I'm just hoping if you guys, it's more like feedback. The Paladin looks incredible. I'm really happy with the work that you guys are doing for the Paladin. I'm just wondering if you can make the walking just a little bit more menacing. Like an individual who has been consumed by darkness should be in fear for their judgment that's to come by the light. You know what I'm saying? Like they shouldn't be. Right now the walking just feels a little bit, like a blood oath. You know what I'm saying? And it's not. It just, I don't know. It just doesn't feel scared. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't feel as if a Paladin was walking up to me, I would just be scared because of how drippy the drippage would be looking, but not necessarily him actually walking towards me. Right? I would just hope for like the Paladin walking to just look more scary.
Yeah. Well, what do you think, Mel?
I mean, I'll run it past some of the art guys and see if they align with that, and then we'll give it a try.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome.
Paladin's got to have aura, If anyone does.
Thank you for having me, Gil.
Yeah. Okay.
Can we get what about snow? Could just a rogue main.
Sure.
Yep.
Let's get snow in.
I don't think we had Rakan up here for the hunter main. I think we need a rogue main.
I
Is there
invited
other
Snow.
rogue?
I did as well. We all invited him.
Snow is the one I know.
There we go.
Adriano put his hand down, so I didn't recommend you. All right.
Hey,
Yo.
Yo,
you
we
guys
can
hear me?
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I was gonna kind of piggyback off what Ark said. If there was any chance that Cheap Shot could get reverted, or if not reverted and you leave it at the 2.5 second duration that it's at, that we at least get the bug fixed where we're unable to claw and front stab full charge heavy attack is what I mean. Because there's like this weird animation carryover recovery where we can't start the front stab pre-buffer. I don't know if you are aware of it, Trick, but it's it's pretty annoying.
Yeah, you pinged me on that bug, and I submitted a fix for it. We just don't have we haven't updated anything yet, but I found the issue.
All right. And my second question was, how do you guys feel about the strength of poison right now? Because I feel as though poison is strong, and the anti-heal that it gives is maybe a bit too strong as well. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure how to balance it properly, because I feel like if you remove the anti-heal, then people are just gonna, drink a potion and just run away, and it'll be difficult to catch. Or I mean, the anti-heal is the main reason people bring antidotes in. So I'm not exactly sure if both need to be nerfed, antidote and poison, or just one or the other. So I just wanted to see what you guys thought about it.
Do you think that 50% anti-heal is like would be like a win condition thing, or is it a little? Yeah, is it that strong?
Well, I mean, specifically in certain matchups, poison is definitely the way to go. And then if you can just make sure the target is unable to heal, knowing that they don't have antidotes, then the fight is basically over the moment you get a poison affliction on them.
Okay.
So I feel like a nerf to the anti-heal could be beneficial. And it might actually incentivize people not to bring antidotes as much, just because it's more of a manageable thing to deal with, having a potion, catch you back up to speed and not be as affected.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder how much the impact of the inflation is going to change too in like arenas where people have their fresh bar of consumables every round. Because in theory, I don't know. It's interesting that it's that strong that it sounds like it would force one of the tool belt slots to always be antidotes, because you can't run the risk of not having them in a matchup.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you might look into reducing the anti-heal, if like I don't know, a little bit, if we do keep getting the feedback that it's that strong, and especially if it does turn out to be some kind of meta-defining thing in the arenas, especially.
Yeah, I forgot who mentioned it, but I do think that we should look at all the afflictions at some point in time. So it's one that we could evaluate. I mean, I think the goal with poison should be, it takes skill and it takes some skill to be able to apply poison, and it should feel good when you use it, and it shouldn't just feel inconsequential, like they're always poisoned or it doesn't really do anything, it just happens, so it should feel impactful. So maybe that means that, I know some folks in the chat were saying, well, maybe the duration could be reduced or something. We make it like strong, but then it's like, limited, so you have to use it at a intelligently or something. But anyway, yeah, we'll take a look and we'll probably evaluate all the afflictions at some point.
All right. Well, thanks, Snow.
And I have one last quick question. Yeah. Is there any plans on improving the functionality of the Dagger Rogue technical attack? Because it's extremely clunky to use. And honestly, the times that you do use it, it gets countered pretty easily. Like, you're either slowed or I mean, it's very situational, and the times that you do use it as well, it just feels like really clunky. Like, I'd rather just sprint after the target. I don't know.
Okay. What times is it useful, do you think, right now?
Usually, like, for example, if it's a rogue versus hunter matchup and the rogue went through the hunter's traps and then the hunter's trying to dodge away, create some space, it would be utilized then. So you don't have to burn your double dash stamina cost of 35%. You would just use a tech attack instead, covered the same amount of distance, if not a little more, and it's significantly cheaper. But then again, it can be countered with like a slow or anything like that, and you go nowhere, which I'm not complaining about that. I'm more so just complaining, like, it feels bad that I have to start a spider bite animation and then go into it. So I don't know if there's a way to like improve that animation just to make it feel less of an input priority.
Yeah. There might
And I
be-
do think buffing this clunkiness, or I'm sorry, nerfing the clunkiness to it would obviously have to have its drawbacks, and you make it cost more stamina because it's gonna get utilized more. Because at the moment, 5 or 10 stam, it's not. It's too good for the value, but it also just feels too clunky, so it doesn't get used. That's the problem.
Cool. Yeah, I'll look into it. It's a little bit difficult for sure when you've got like, as soon as like people want spider bite to start as soon as the button is in the down state on like right click, so like that has to be responsive. But there is some weird delay before it comes out that I can look at. Good feedback.
Cool. That's pretty much all I had to ask.
All right. All right. Thanks, man. Thanks for the questions. All right. Let's do one more and then we'll close it out.
Alright.
Let's see.
Do you have another one?
Flander.
You guys can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Good. Guys, I have a quick question about the save feature. So it's a new addition to the lodge. And the full upgraded save is 3x3. And in community, there is some like idea that it's like almost broken thing that you can basically reach level 99, grab a big soul bag that is 3x3, put it in, and also add some stack of butter and maybe some mint leaves and stuff. How do you feel about that?
How do we feel about that? You can put
About the
the
stat,
level 99 bag in there?
Well, 99 bag is pretty big, right? For the achievement of like reaching level 99. But it feels like the safe itself brings like a lot of kind of overpowered stuff into the new season. So there are gonna be some sort of limitation of the type of items that you can put in, or maybe, you know, just interested to see your opinion on the safe.
Yeah, the save feature is an experimental one. I know it's like some players like the idea, some players don't. In season 3, you will be able to carry over items from the save into that season, so we'll kind of see how it goes and what the feedback is. It will have some growing pains, I think, as we develop it and figuring out what if it makes sense to have the save, maybe some stuff shouldn't go into it, etc. Yeah, the level 99 bag you can put into the save. So we'll see we'll just kind of see how that goes. It is a choice though, right? Because if you put that in there, it eats up a lot of the space in there. So it's not like you can add more things into it. So anyway, like I said, it's an experiment. We'll kind of see how it goes. I'm anxious to see how season 3 goes with it. I know there's also some bugs with that. I've heard a report someone lost their bag in the save or something. So we have to iron these out as well. But yeah. Anyway, that's kind of the my response about that.
If I may, a real quick question about the 99 bag reward. Is there a chance it can be made as a permanent thing? Like an achievement that you can just keep? Or is it going to be like,
Yeah, I'm curious what the community thinks about that. That could be something we put onto the feedback site and see what folks think, the players think. Right now, it is not a permanent thing, although you could put it into the save so you can carry it over seasons, but then it has a cost, right, to do that, which I think is kind of interesting. It's possible. I do think it's a really hard thing to achieve in a season for the average player, so it could make sense maybe if it did. But yeah, I don't know. I don't have a strong opinion on it just yet. I think it needs more time to play out. I think one thing we are talking about with that bag, though, in particular, that we talk about internally, is making it so you can't put legendary shards into it, or legendaries in general, using it. So it is a little bit of a nerf to it. Some feedback that we got was just it feels a little too, it's a little too much. But people do like the bag generally, it feels like, in the feedback.
Yeah, bag is cool, but it can become like, you know, a little bit broken with the save feature. Because like especially at the start of the season, you need to kind of, even if it goes like pretty fast, but you need to level up Taylor to craft the blue bag. But you can have like a bigger bag at the right off the bat, you know. Curious too.
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, all these things are just experiments right now, so we really appreciate all the feedback. So, yeah, we'll do a Meet the Devs before Season 3 where we just talk about progression and itemizations in general, where John can join that. And he's really anxious to hear you guys' feedback. And like I said, Season 3, the intent is for it to almost be like, you know, Tarkov did their hardcore season. This might be like the softcore one. So we'll see. All right. Okay, well, I think that's... What's that?
I was saying thank you very much, guys, for letting me ask my question, so thank you.
Of course, yeah. Thanks for the questions. All right, everybody. Yes, I know this was a long one, but you guys have really good questions. And I know there's more questions about the classes in general, so feel free to post those in the feedback website, and we will try our best at responding to those. And yeah, we'll show more of the Paladin, hope maybe in the next one, and some maybe the rogue weapon and the arena. So we'll see you next Meet the Devs.
I have a request for Arcavian. Arcavian, I need you to record footage of yourself walking menacingly at the camera and send it to me.
Yeah, yeah, we gotta see a GIF of that for reference. We have to have the reference.
It's 100% for reference. I want to know what you think a menacing walk is. I have my ideas, but you called it out, so I want to hear. I want to see what your idea is. Shirt
all right.
on.
All right.
Shirt on.
That's a good thing to leave the Meet the Devs on. All right, thanks everybody. See you next time.
Only if you want.
All right. Bye everyone.
All right. Bye-bye.
Later. Okay. There's me. Sorry, chat on Twitch. I haven't been able to. I was just unable to. I don't know if we even have anyone in chat. Oh, I see it now. Okay, I see a bunch of stuff. I just ignored all of it. I'm sorry. I didn't have the monitor real estate. Okay, so yeah, I see it now though. So I'll fix it for next time. I'm buying a new monitor. It's time. Yeah, October 21st is the new patch, the new season. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week, I think. Bye.